everyone, and welcome back to Dear Herbalist, where we explore the bridges between ancestral herbal wisdom and the science that shapes modern healing. Tonight's episode is for every herbalist, every practitioner, those who ever felt that their knowledge passed down through family, culture, or community is not enough unless it's certified, tested, or stamped with modern approval. Tonight we are talking about gatekeeping. We're talking about cultural inheritance, and we're talking about the confidence to own your own herbal lineage without compromise. So if you are new to this podcast, you are most certainly welcome. And if you are a returning listener, thank you for your continued listen. I appreciate it 1,000 times over. Thank you so much for your continued listen, as well as putting in comments. I love reading your comments, so please give me more. And if you are listening and you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. I am preparing a lot of tutorials that are coming up here soon, so please stay tuned for that. Always check out my website, www.thedemystifiedherbalist.com. Go over there and learn sciences, herbal remedies for every type of person and animal. Go over there and check it all out, you guys. It's a lot of stuff. It was a labor of love, and I hope you appreciate it, and please let me know what you think about it as you scroll through. But tonight, the title is Carrying Ancestral Wisdom, Traditional Wisdom versus Modern Validation. And at the heart of it, like I said, we're going to talk about gatekeeping. So this series for November is going to be called Confessions of an Herbalist. So for the month of November, if you look at all my social media, you will see a lot of different confessions that herbalists have. What's going on in our minds? What are we thinking? So who's these conversations for? It's for you herbalist, you plant enthusiast, you. It's to let you know that I see you, I hear you, what you say has meaning, and it's very important, and you're not alone. Above all of what I just said, you are not alone. There are a lot of herbalists out there that feel the way that I have stated, okay, in podcasts before, but also in my social media posts. So check those out. If you are not following me on Facebook and Instagram, please do so, as well as X. The information is there, and hopefully it will encourage you to let you know you're not out here alone, and it's okay to say what you need to say out loud. Definitely okay. So for tonight, let's start with a truth that many of us have felt, and it's that quiet pressure to prove ourselves, right? It's that validation. You may have learned herbalism from your grandmother's kitchen or your uncle's garden or your own deep relationship with the land, but somehow when you step into certain herbal spaces, it feels like that knowledge doesn't count, right? The world has created systems right now that reward what can be documented, certified, and measured. Yet much of the ancestral knowledge lives in oral tradition, it lives in intuition, and direct experience. I don't know if you guys have heard my podcast, several podcasts back, when I talked about the proof is in the pudding. That is what I meant back then when I said it, is that a lot of times with our ancestors, the proof that it worked is that you saw it. You saw that it worked. And so when people in the community, they knew to go to that one person to get that particular herb or to get knowledge from them, because a lot of people said that they did it. A lot of people said that it worked for them. And so with herbal medicine, like I said before, with us, yes, the science and all of that stuff and modern advancements are great because it helps really validate and prove that a lot of what our ancestors was saying was true. But is that all we have to stand on? No. The proof is in the pudding. If you were able to help someone, let's say somebody that had diabetes, right? And through a protocol of diet, nutrition, and herbs and things like that, you were able to help them, one, get rid of their diabetes, two, drop weight, right? You're going to have more people coming out there to seek your knowledge because they could see you've helped someone. So if you're someone who, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but if you're someone who is out there and you're like, yeah, I know a little bit and I was able to help a few people, don't sleep on that. That is a huge thing because people will come for what they know. They come for what they see. They come for, hey, word of mouth. You helped my cousin, my mother, my brother. So I'm going to come to you now because I saw what you were able to do in the community. I can tell you when I've created herbal products and things like that, I've had a lot of people come to me because they tried it and it worked. Or they've had someone else to try it and it worked for them. They didn't stop me and ask what science backs up what you're saying. And this is the people. This is the people, not us highly educated herbalist groups. Okay. This is the everyday common man, the people that we are supposed to be out here serving. They're like, listen, I saw you help my cousin or my brother, whoever. And because you helped them, I know you got that information. Can you help me too? Now, wow, you helped me too. Now I have 10 other people waiting in line that also need help. So don't lose sight of who we're here to serve, because with them, all right, they're not always focused on that. They're not always focused on scientific validation and give me all these big words and all that. They're like, I don't even know how to make sense of that. I just know that one day Johnny came to me, Johnny was sick. Now Johnny went to you. 2 weeks later, Johnny came back, Johnny's well. Okay. It ain't that deep for most people. The common man, right? The common man. And I say that very sarcastically. But when it comes to ancestral knowledge, because that's where a lot of us learned, that's where a lot of us got our start. I know that's where I got mine, watching my grandfather and learning about, herbs and mixing up stuff and all of that stuff. So that's where you get started, right? And then understanding your gut and your intuition, all of that makes herbal medicine alive. So modern herbalism, what it comes in and asks us to do is to translate what our ancestors already knew into a language of science. But that does not mean that that translation should mean that you should erase what came from your grandparents. So do not erase it. Now let's talk about gatekeeping. And though we may think gatekeeping is not found in the herbal medicine space, it is. Oh, it is. It definitely is. There is a unspoken hierarchy in herbalism where Western frameworks often sit at the top. Okay. Academic training, clinical certification, pharmacological language, all of these are powerful tools. But when they become the only markers of credibility, then we do lose something sacred. Okay. Traditional knowledge systems, and this is whether they're African, indigenous, Asian, Latin American, no matter what they are, they have always had their own rigorous ways of testing and proving and passing on knowledge. Their classroom just looked different. So when someone tells you that your practice or your wellness group or your herbal business isn't clinical enough or not evidence-based, remember, the evidence of generations who healed and survived is standing right in front of them. That's you. That's you. So with all of this gatekeeping, we can't sit back and be like, you know what? I don't think I'll ever measure up to the Western frameworks and standards. So I'm just going to sit back and I'm not going to do anything. But what about the people that need your help? What about the people that need to know about your tea or your tincture? Now they have to miss out because you don't feel like it's good enough. And it's almost, I don't know. I mean, maybe I feel sometimes it's almost better when you didn't have all of this gatekeeping. When you didn't have people to say, okay, we're going to take this indigenous knowledge, we're going to package it up, and you can only learn it from us. That's dangerous. It's giving colonization, right? It's dangerous. Because how are you going to take something over that has been the original for hundreds of thousands of years for a lot of cultures, especially brown people? I know in my ancestry alone, tracing all the way back, they were farmers. They worked the land. They were herbalists. They knew the land. They knew the plants. They knew what they could take from the plant. They knew what the plant could do. They knew the body. Now, did they know all the exact sciences and all this other stuff. No, but what they knew worked. What they knew helped the people in the community. And there was nobody around talking about, well, I need you to prove this to me before I take this. Or what have you done? Who's validated who you are? It's annoying. And I hear you as herbalists, it is annoying. Especially trying to get out here in this modern world where people are like, who validated you? Who else can say that you're smart? Who else can say that you know what you know? Sometimes I get disgusted by it, to be honest with you. Excuse me? Excuse me? Who are you? So you don't need somebody else's validation. What I preach is making sure that you understand what the herbs can do. And because I'm a nerd, I love science, I'm a blend of that tradition and science. I love to see how this is what my ancestors used it for. And then somebody else who has $1 million of labs, worth of lab and all that, they do the studies and they say, hey, this is what this does. And it's like, I know that because that's what my ancestors used it for. So I know that. That makes it exciting for me to know that. Right? But don't feel like you have to be validated by anyone. And if the common person is like, you know what, I don't know. I mean, how do you come across this knowledge? How do you know this? Right? How is it that you know this? And when people have asked me that, sometimes I'm like, because I like to read, because I study. You do realize that you can gather knowledge without having to sit in front of a teacher, right? You do realize that there's tons of books where we have the information superhighway. You do realize that you can go know what anybody else in this world knows. You do know that, right? That's what I want to tell people. But I have to keep my inner petty on the inside because that person may buy a tea from me. Or they may buy the book. And if they buy the book, be blessed by it because I know that you will. But no, you're not going to see a forward in there from the top herbalist, whoever from wherever, validating that I know what I'm talking about. I'm a game changer in this world. I can do so much things. You're not going to see that in any of my books because I don't feel any of that matters. So you will not see that in any of my books, a forward from the top herbalist, famous, whatever, from whoever's group or club. None of that matters to me. What matters to me is getting the information out to the people who don't have access to it. What matters to me is making sure, especially the people in my community who are often underserved in a lot of cities and states, countries as well, underserved. Plants, medicine growing all around them, and they're dying left and right from diabetes, from high blood pressure, from obesity, heart disease, everything. They need this information. And the people in your community, they need this information as well. All right. So now let's talk about integration without compromise. All right. We're going to talk about balance. I am not dismissing education. I am not dismissing science, nor am I dismissing certification. Why? Because these tools can deepen your understanding, they can help improve safety, and they can expand your reach. But the danger lies in letting those systems define the value of what you're doing. I've taken courses, I've read books, because I want to gain additional knowledge for what it is that I'm doing, whether it's a book I'm writing or a project I'm working on. I want to get I'm like a sponge right now. I just want to gather a lot of information and a lot of knowledge from a variety of different sources, right? But these things, these courses, certifications, and all the other stuff that I have, that does not define my value. It adds to me and it adds to what I'm doing. It gives me a bit of knowledge maybe I didn't have before. Okay, but it doesn't define my value. The goal is integration without assimilation. So if you want to learn phytochemistry, learn it. If you want to study anatomy or pharmacology, do it. But bring your ancestors to the classroom with you. Let your lineage sit at the table beside your textbooks. And am I meaning that in some kind of crazy, morbid way? No, what I mean is remember them. Remember what they told you. Remember how they moved. Remember. Don't feel like you have to let that information go, or you have to just dump it because it looks like some hoodoo, voodoo type of stuff. It's hard to explain spiritual concepts and wisdom and intuition to people that don't have that spiritual mind. So you will come across that bit of frustration when you're trying to explain, from the Bible where the herbs, where the Most High said that the herbs were for the healing of the nations. Well, try to explain that to somebody that doesn't believe in the Bible or the Most High, right? It's rough. But what I'm saying is bring back to remembrance what they have taught you. Or if you don't know, study your culture. Go into a deep culture study. And really sit back and get into the mindset of your ancestors and what they did. You don't want to lose that knowledge because it held value. And a lot of the things that they say, it's easier to grasp and understand than a lot of some of this bigger science-y type stuff. Which is why my goal as the demystified herbalist is try to demystify that, to try to simplify some of that stuff so that you can understand. Because when you merge traditional wisdom with modern understanding, you expand the medicine, not dilute it. So when you study the chemical properties of the plants, you bring in that traditional knowledge of how do they use this traditionally. That adds extra support to your use and reason for even using this plant. Because if traditionally your ancestors, didn't use an herb, let's say in a way they may have used it now, maybe you would decide not to use it. Maybe you would decide, I don't want to use that as a tincture. They didn't do it that way, and it may be because of the tools that they had available to them back then. Or it may be because they just determined that's not the best way to do it. And they were able to get results by using a salve or by using a decoction. So again, you expand the medicine, not dilute it. So, how do we reclaim that confidence? Because at the heart of the matter, it's a confidence issue. And this is the reason why it's not a lot of people out there, one, calling themselves herbalists, right? It's so cute to read because I'm a part of a lot of different herbalist groups in the blogs and that type of stuff, right? On Facebook. And so I get a chance to read a lot of people's comments and questions and these things. And you could just kind of see people just like creeping out, like, hey, I'm kind of new to this. I'm not sure where to start. What do I do about this? And you could just see people. It's like the hunger is there. Right? The hunger is there and the wisdom of what they know is there, but the confidence isn't there. And so what you see in herbal medicine now, you have a lot of people that are like, their confidence is bursting through the seams, right? It's bursting through the roof. And so you see that, right? And they're the ones that seemingly get most of the attention. And some of them aren't even right. Some of them are all over the place. Some of them kind of make our field look a little sideways. Because they're making us look crazy out here as herbalists. Just being honest. But you can just see people, you see the hunger, but in the tone of what they write, you can hear, I want to do this. I feel pulled to do it. I feel called to do it, but I don't have the confidence to do it. What if I look stupid? What if nobody listens to me? What if the higher ups on the herbal hierarchy tell me I'm not qualified? I shouldn't even touch a plant at this point until I know at least 25 plants and their properties and what they can do. Until I can go to this big herbal school and get that stamp of validation from them saying, yep, you're good. You qualify to be able to do this medicine. Right? No. So how do you reclaim that confidence? Number one, name your lineage. Speak the names of those who taught you, your elders, your mentors, those in your community. Number two, document your practice your way. Write your own materia medica, record stories, keep the oral alive. And some of you may feel like, I don't know who to talk to. I don't even know who my ancestors were. It's time to deep dive and do that work. It's time to understand what they did. I stopped at just my grandfather on my mother's side. But the more I started talking to my family, I started to learn more about the herbal practices of my grandfather on my father's side, right? And the more you keep diving deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, my family is the descendants of slavery, okay? And so going back and reading those slave narratives and hearing the voices of the ancestors and hearing what they said they did and reading it, okay, not necessarily hearing it, but reading what they said they did and why they used it that way and all those type of things, you know, it kind of helped shape my mentality in terms of how I do things, how I look at things, how I read people, how to simplify a lot of processes that a lot of people try to make so difficult. Because at the end of the day, the point is to get the person from being unwell to well. That's the whole point of it. And so that journey in between is what we as herbalists work with the client to determine. Okay, we use our specific skill set, our specific knowledge. And let me say this really quick too, before I go forward. The other thing is, the other movement, I guess I say that I'm moving forward with, is that there needs to be a lot more herbalists. There needs to be a lot more education amongst herbalists. We can't have these 5 or 6 or 10 premium, high up, whatever you want to call them, herbalists, because that is not realistic for our population, our global population. That's not realistic for, and it's not realistic for the United States. That's not realistic. Why would you want to be, let's say, one person for the region of the Midwest? That you're that one herbalist that tons of millions of people keep coming to for a variety of different issues. Why would you want to be that person? Why would you want to raise yourself up to that? No. What needs to happen is that there needs to be an herbalist in every state, in every city, in every town, in every borough, okay, in every township. There needs to be a couple of herbalists around so that people in that area can have that impact. Why does someone from New Jersey have to wait for an herbalist from California to answer the phone? Why does somebody from Chicago have to wait from somebody for, an herbalist that's deep in herbal medicine in New Orleans to start a class or to teach them something or to do herb walks? Why? So you are an important person. You are an important part of this herbal medicine puzzle, because I can't reach people. I'm trying to reach as many as I can, right? But I can't reach everybody face to face, let's say in Milwaukee, Wisconsin somewhere. Or I can't, go directly and do herb walks and things like that with someone in Beijing, Or I can't go to somebody, in New York City and do herb walks there and talk to them about medicines there. I can do it from the internet, but I can't do it like face to face. So there are herbalists needed everywhere. There's an herbalist shortage everywhere. I'm just going to say that. How do I know that? Because if you look at the health numbers, people are falling off. They're losing organs. They're losing their mind. Okay? They don't know what to do. They think pharmaceutical and the medical community, that's the only answer for them. That's all they know. These people in rural areas of America, they have the land, but a lot of times they're not growing the herbs. So they need people too. So what I'm saying is, no matter where you are needed, and you have to get started. Not yesterday, not last week, not even 10 minutes ago. You got to get started right now. You got to believe in yourself, and you got to move forward. And as you go, as you see your impact, okay, you'll see like, oh, okay, I can do this. I'm actually helpful, right? So I just wanted to say that really quickly. But reclaiming confidence, okay? The other thing is stop asking for permission. Validation does not come from certificates. It comes from the integrity and the results of your work. Focus on the integrity and the results of your work. Anybody with a few dollars can go and sit and take a class and take a course and get a stamp and a certificate, post it online, and boom. Anyone can do that. People say, "No, and then with the advent of AI now and everything that's going on with AI, come on. You know what I'm saying? Like, there'll probably be 100 million certificate people at this point. But the main thing is that does not matter. What matters is integrity, meaning that people can trust what you say, meaning that you're not trying to scam people, you're not trying to take advantage. You know that if you harvested that plant and you have like fields and fields of it, then you know that you shouldn't be charging people astronomical rates to have it. It's integrity. And then, like I said, the results, the proof is in the pudding. If you start helping people and you start making a difference, you will see the people come. So do not ask for permission. And then 4, again, how do we reclaim that confidence? Build bridges, not walls. So collaborate. Collaborate with clinical herbalists. Collaborate with traditional ones. Collaborate. Read up. If you don't have anybody in your area, read up, reach out. We have the internet now, so you can reach out to a lot of different people. Everybody's on Instagram or Facebook or Pinterest or Twitter, all these other social media platforms. Link up. Ask questions. Because I guarantee you, you are not alone. Somebody started right where you are. And somebody is getting ready to walk into where you're already standing. So collaborate. And at the end of the day, reclaiming your roots isn't about rejecting the modern. That's not what I'm saying. It's about remembering that you come from a line of scientists, botanists, and herbalists long before the word herbalist was ever even written on a certificate. Okay? Know that. So I'm going to give you a reflection for the week. And I would like you, if you want to say anything about it or a few words about it, you can. In the comments, do so. If not, it's okay. But what I want you to reflect on is what part of your herbal journey have you downplayed because it didn't feel official? And what would you change if you owned that wisdom unapologetically? Your roots are your credentials. Your ancestors are your reference books. And your practice, whether it's lived, tested, and embodied, that is enough. So until next time, stay grounded, stay curious, and keep honoring the medicine that lives in your lineage. And if you like what you heard, follow me on all social media sites at The Demystified Herbalist. Check out my website, www.thedemystifiedherbalist.com. And I want to say something really quick. I want to give a shout out to Japan because I was looking at my analytics or whatever you call it on the back end of your website. And I have the highest amount of viewers from Japan. So I really want to say, if you are listening out there, thank you so much for viewing my site. I appreciate it very, very much. Please consider going to YouTube and subscribing to my channel. I will have more for you, but thank you so much in the meantime to everyone that is listening, that is watching, that is liking, that is sharing, that is subscribing. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And until next time, family, I'm out.